These days with the cost of college, people are getting all sorts of creative, which I absolutely love. That's why we talk about our hashtag Rebel Family community in the scholarship system and Debt Free Degree Lab, where we say our families are rebellious in the sense of approaching paying for college in a rebellious kind of way, right? Status quo says you just have to borrow the money and your student pays on student debt for 21 years or more on average. But we are saying no to that system, right? We're rebelling against it. And so what I say is our families like to turn every rock. They want to make sure they look at every strategy. And one of those strategies might be crowdfunding. So in today's video, I want to talk about crowdfunding for education. Yes, just like people use GoFundMe for medical bills or personal causes, there are students now turning to this to pay for their education. So, is this a realistic strategy? Should your student do this? Should you guys work on this strategy? That's what I'm going to answer in today's video. Now make sure you hit subscribe because as you see, we have lots of different strategies for paying for college. So we want to help your family work towards that debt-free degree. Hey there, my name is Jocelyn Pearson, founder of the Scholarship System and Debt Free Degree Lab, where we redefine paying for college to help families build strong financial futures rather than ones where their students are buried in student loan debt. Now, we've helped families secure over $15 million in scholarships, but I would love to see if this crowdfunding strategy could work. So let's talk about how to make it a success. Now, first, what is crowdfunding? So crowdfunding is basically an online fundraiser to allow people to contribute to a specific cause. So in this case, the cause is your child's college education. Websites like GoFundMe, Fundly, and Indiegogo, these all allow families to create a campaign, share their story, and receive donations from friends, family, even strangers if it takes off. Now, comment below, have you heard of this strategy? If so, have you tried it? Have you seen it? And have you seen other platforms than what I mentioned, the three I mentioned? If so, share them. That way we can all look into those. Now, at first, I know this idea sounds pretty unusual because it's not so common and it is relatively new over the last years. But in truth, some families have raised thousands of dollars doing this. The key is a strategy and storytelling. Now, I do want to say also for this to work, I think that it's important for you and your student to set a realistic goal. Will they raise $200,000? Maybe. I don't want to say no, never say never. But if we can make it a more realistic goal, maybe we need to raise $2,000 for room and board or for textbooks for the 4 years. So we can make smaller milestones and break it down, and that'll make it a little bit more realistic. That way we can have success at an earlier point. It'll also make it more realistic for those who want to donate. But again, success, it'll depend on multiple factors. One of the most important will be the strength of your child's story. So people like to donate to stories. They want to donate to someone with a compelling reason for needing funds. And as we know, there are almost 2 million seniors graduating every single year. So the fact that college is expensive, that's probably not going to do it because we know it's expensive for everyone. But if your child has overcome really extenuating circumstances, if they've had some extreme challenges, if they have some really off-the-wall dreams and goals, if they're pursuing something unique, these are things that are more likely to inspire people to donate. Another factor of success is your network. The more people that you can reach, that your student can reach, the better. Whether it's family, friends, community members, even social media connections can help. What we need to do is really spread the word, but the more people we can reach, the higher chances of receiving donations. The third factor is how well you and your student promote the campaign. Setting it and forgetting it just won't work. Putting it out there once and just hoping that money will just come flowing in, that's not going to do anything. We really have to actively share it, talk about it, ask people to help contribute it. We also want to keep supporters engaged so that they feel connected to it. So it does take a lot more legwork than just putting it out there. All right, let's talk about some pros and cons here. So the pros of doing this strategy of using crowdfunding to pay for college education, First and foremost is no repayment required, right? It's not a loan. It's money that's given back, unlike student loans. So it does not have to be paid back. Secondly, it can be fast fundraising. Again, that doesn't mean no work. It just means that if successful, it could be a pretty quick turnaround versus even with scholarships, it can be months before we hear back. Third is it's great for emergency situations. So if something fell through, financial aid, a sudden expense comes up, something crazy happens in our life, that's where crowdfunding can really come into play. And lastly, it can raise awareness. So sharing your child's education goals with the community, it might open up new opportunities. Maybe someone has an internship or another scholarship they can apply or job connections. So this actually can turn into more than just receiving funds. Now let's get into the cons. Of course, it's not guaranteed. There's no way to predict how much you'll raise, and some campaigns really don't get any kind of traction. Also, depending on how it's set up, some campaigns won't pay out unless the goal is met. Second, it is time consuming, but then again, everything that's going to really result in money is, if they say it's quick and easy, then that's a red flag. But again, it's not just about setting it up. It's about sharing it, promoting it, following up, updates, etc. Third con is maybe a stigma. I think people feel weird asking for money. So that will definitely be a stretch for some people. And lastly is platform fees. So most crowdfunding platforms, I mean, of course they have to make some money. They have to pay for their engineers and their developers and hosting and all this. They have expenses, right? So no matter what the cause is, they still have to pay the bill. So they will take a percentage of what's raised. Now, if you've said, you know what, let's try it. Let's give you a few tips on how to make this a success. So first and foremost is to work with your student on creating a compelling story, okay? Again, that story is really what is going to make or break this. Why do they need the money? What are their goals and dreams? How will this education make a difference in their life? What challenges have they overcome? Brainstorming these questions together can really start off a fantastic, compelling story. We want to make it personal. We want to make it emotional, inspiring. We need to connect with people for them to donate. And by the way, these tips even apply for an essay for a scholarship. Second, we need to set a realistic goal again. So, $50,000, $100,000, that might be a stretch, but we could say, I need $2,000 for textbooks and supplies. I need $5,000 for the remaining tuition. I need $1,500 for study abroad expenses. So we can break this down. People like to know exactly what their money is going towards. Third is share, and share. Social media, Facebook, X or Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, going all the places that we have connections, reaching out to family and friends, maybe through text, email, word of mouth, community groups, if we're involved in churches, local businesses, volunteer groups, alumni associations, and then asking people to share. Maybe someone can't donate more than $5, or maybe they can't donate at all, but you could ask them to share it, and that could be their contribution. The more visibility, the more eyeballs, the higher chances of receiving money. The next thing I personally loved to do when I was receiving scholarships is to keep donors updated. People love to see progress. So posting updates on this about how much has been raised, any other efforts that you're doing, maybe scholarships that have been won or applied for, financial aid that's been secured. So showing, hey, we're not just relying on this, we're doing all this work over here. That could be a great update. What scholarships have covered so far. These are things that we can share as updates, and people will see that when they go to the page. Also, maybe a thank you video for those who already did contribute. That could be something as well. A personalized message would be nice. Another idea could be offering small incentives, maybe some token of appreciation. Maybe if you donate this much, I'll give you a handwritten thank you note, or this much will get a digital shout out, or this much will get a personal update. I'll give you a phone call. Now, of course, those are just silly, fun ways, but it really is an idea. Or it could be something else. Maybe a student can even offer, maybe they have a hobby that can be something that they can give to the top donor. Try to be creative here. That's the bulk when it comes to crowdfunding, but I do want to say that there are, again, so many other strategies that we can do as well, okay? So in addition to this, we want to be implementing all the strategies we can. First and foremost, applying for scholarships as well as when we're doing this. And a lot of it will overlap. We can use our story to write an incredible essay. So if we're putting in the effort, why not spread it out, right? Try and get as much money as possible. If you're having a hard time finding legitimate scholarships, I do have a free webinar. Just go to thescholarshipsystem.com/free webinar, or click the link in the description below, or you can go to that video watch that. I'll take you there. But I'll cover where to find legitimate scholarships with less competition. And every student should be doing this ideally by junior year in high school and all the way through college. So even if your student's already in college, this is something they could do, these scholarships. All right, so that said, crowdfunding can be a useful tool. Some students have had success with it. I'd love to hear if you do. Come back here, let us know. I'd love to hear stories about this. If it worked, even if it didn't work, share in the comments below. I'd love to just share with the community what their experience is with this. But hey, I am all about any strategy that can result in avoiding student loan debt, and this is one of them. So let's give it a shot. Why not? It doesn't hurt. But we do need to make sure we're putting in a valiant effort, which hopefully this video gave you all lots of tips and ideas on that. Again, make sure you hit subscribe. We have new strategies for you every single week. Don't forget about that free webinar I talked about for scholarships. You'll find the link in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.